All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the GO.Live Gaming Podcast on the 14th of June, 2018. We're here, we're ready, and we want to rumble. Yes. You can interpret that in any way and form and fashion you want it to. We're, as I said, the GO.Live Gaming Podcast, and we usually talk about Electronic Arts, Bioware, and Anthem. And since there are tons of information about Anthem that we can talk and speculate and inform you about, then we're obviously going to talk a lot about Anthem today. A lot on Anthem. We're currently live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Mixer. If you don't have time to stay with us, don't worry, don't fret, don't cry to sleep or yourself to sleep tonight, because the VOD will be uploaded tomorrow here on YouTube, or if you're watching this on YouTube, then it's here on YouTube. Otherwise, it's on YouTube. And we have the podcast that is going to be in audio form, a little bit more processed, a little bit more crisp, up this Saturday on SoundCloud and your podcast app of choice and iTunes and so much more. If you enjoy the show, then please leave a email at feedback@gunsofanthem.com. And yes, today with me, I have two legends, two notorious, what can I call you? Gunslingers. I don't know why we
armaments. I don't know.
I don't know.
We need to work on this.
Yes, yeah. Well, we have Josh.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
infamous in certain small circles, but infamous nonetheless. That's me. So there you go.
In the circle he's infamous in, he's very infamous. Just to say
Absolutely, completely.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
All right, and we have Raker, also known as Patrick.
Yay!
Wow, such excitement is felt.
I'm also here.
He is here, indeed.
I am not looked over.
No, we haven't forgotten about you. We haven't put you in a little box and put you out on the street and forgotten about you. Don't worry.
The kitten
That
is
happens
in the rain.
all the time.
I know.
Yeah, it's a hell of a thing. But yeah, so today we're going to talk a lot about Anthem. We're going to base this video, the conversation first, out of the topics of the latest video that we put out on the channel. I think this is going to be more of a thing, the more videos we actually get out, so we can get a deeper discussion about what we think personally about the news and information we report about the game to you guys. So I think that could be a good little mix of things. So we're just going to jump into it. Basically, after EA Play, we got a lot of information on EA Play or during EA Play. Not so much, but when it comes to all of the information after that on news sites and on Twitter and, Mark Dara, the executive producer of Anthem, I think he is, he has been working overtime, surely, to answer everyone's questions about Anthem as much as he possibly can. There's things that are still actually not decided in the game, so he can't talk about those because they're obviously still in development, sort of. It's just minor things, but those things that he could answer with certainty and clarity, we are going to talk about shortly. So the first thing that I want to touch upon, since this is a Bioware game, and when it comes to Bioware RPGs, one thing they're very famous for is the relationships that you build with the characters in the different games, especially with Dragon Age and with Mass Effect. I guess those are the main two topics here. Romance options have always been something that fans have loved and something that has fueled fanfare and fueled fan art and fueled all kinds of fan things in years. And also fuel the Rule 34. If yeah.
God, no love for. I just feel like you've got no love for Knights of the Old Republic right now. I just feel like that's just been completely forgotten. But carry on.
What was the romance options in Knights of the Old Republic? I honestly.
I don't know, but I'm sure there's some very interesting things on Rule 34 involving lightsabers. And let's just put it that way. Not that I would know. I really don't. But still.
Yeah. Well, sure. Probably somewhere.
Quickly, go.
If you can think about it, it's happened. That's usually the thing about the internet. So, no romance options for Anthem. We know that is not going to be a thing. So that sort of, in my mind, points towards maybe the character relationships not being as important as previous Bioware RPGs, which kind of surprised me. I thought at least they would have the option in there. Now, I guess this doesn't exclude the possibility of it being there in the future, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more to talk about. I'm sure you're probably going to get there. So I'll try not to, run you over to have my say.
No, yeah.
But I don't know. I think a lot of interesting things have been said about what they want to do with Tarsus. And again, like I said, I'll let you get there when you get there. But I think their approach to friendships rather than to love, shall we
Yeah.
say. I think the emphasis is still going to be there. Honestly, I'm actually pretty hopeful, especially with some of the things I've been reading lately, especially on a certain Game Informer article. I think that we could have some very meaningful interactions with NPCs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not going to go down the standard sort of options for romance that have been so prevalent in the past.
All right. Well,
I also think if you form strong connections and even maybe love connections to the characters, this would be a sad thing that you can't take them out on the field. And I think that's another reason why they wouldn't go so deep with the character relations you have.
Yeah, I think you're right. They've sort of pushed towards the idea that your friends are your squad mates in this one, haven't they? I think that's one of the big messages I've taken away.
yeah. I think the message about what the game is actually going to be has been it's confused a lot of people. Like there's this no, did I disappear? I disappeared from the scene. Do you guys hear me?
I can hear you,
Yeah.
but you,
Alright,
you are
good.
now completely static in Discord, so
All
it's
right,
going very well.
I'll just fix that and don't worry. All right. The thing is the concept I think confused a lot of people. Since this is a Bioware game and it's an RPG, I think that is something that people have just come to expect from Bioware games. So there's been sort of a dissonance from what I can say on YouTube, for example. So hey, I'm back, and
Welcome back.
or on Twitter.
It's like you've never gone.
Yeah, on Twitter mostly. But yeah, that's the thing about going away from your original concept. It can be daunting, and it feels like I've seen a lot of comments, and we got comments on our YouTube video as well. Like, oh, they're not going to have that. Well, this game is not for me. Then I'm going to skip this and go for Dragon Age 4. Yeah.
But I mean, on that subject though, and I think I would like to bring this up. There was a wonderful article by Game Informer that have done a really in-depth look at this game, and one of the standouts for me was when they were talking about private and shared spaces. And unlike a lot of other MMOs and whatnot, Fort Tarsis, which seems to be the hub of the game, they want as a sort of a private space, but they do talk in there quite distinctly that they want your choices in the game itself to have an impact on that private space in Fort Tarsis. So I think that's where a lot of the story is going to be within this first-person hub. They also talk about NPCs never recovering, whatever that means. I think that was the quote from some of your actions. So again, I think you will have that fairly strong story, but it's going to be less centered in the open world and more centered in your home base this time around, I think.
Yeah. And also with them actually focusing the information and the time and the development so much on the co-op experience, I would guess that they want to foster those kinds of relationships as well, maybe to make the co-op or the social experience with friends and with randos feel more meaningful than just pointing you towards having relationships with the NPCs in the game. That might move the focus over to something else where maybe the focus shouldn't be. So that might be an idea. How do you feel, Patrick? Are you sad about the fact that you're not going to be able to romance another Garrus?
Not really. I'm just generally sad that there isn't an option to bring those people along on your missions. That's more where I think It's sad. I don't need romance in my games. It's always a nice addition because you can get to know the character on a deeper level, but it's not necessary for me.
Oh,
No.
that deep level, eh? Yeah.
The deep levels.
That deep level.
But yeah. So, well, I don't think there's too much else to say about it. I mean, it's I think everyone sort of expected something like that to actually happen, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be a thing. I just think they're going to be able to be surprising a lot of people. From the first impressions that I saw from the demo, when it comes to the raw gameplay, it's been really, really impressive from the people that actually have seen gameplay first hand and played the demo at EA Play. So there's a lot of positive opinions about that, but still, I think you have to set your mind to that Anthem is going to be more gameplay heavy, more focused on gameplay and gameplay mechanics and the shooting and the loot and all of that, maybe more than anything else. Now,
I'll tell you what. Speaking of that, yeah, because I wasn't there on the stream, sadly, when you guys were probably discussing this. You know, your impressions when you saw the original E3 Anthem footage.
yeah,
But from what I've read now and from what I've actually seen of the gameplay, I've really had a very interesting takeaway. And I think their music choice at the end of the gameplay footage as well, when they were doing that 4-man mission. What that said to me is that what we want is not Destiny. We don't want Warframe. What we truly want is basically 3D flying, Path of Exile, Marvel's Iron Man in space. That's what we want from this game.
but I mean, it's so much like the inspiration from Iron Man is.
Oh yeah.
It's obvious, but then again, we don't really have a good Iron Man game, so why not? And I think moving the concept of Iron Man, of the Iron Man suit, into another world is a great idea. I mean,
Is there even an Iron Man game? Except from Avenger games? I don't think so.
No, I don't think there's a standalone one, right? Not from what I can recall. So
I'm fairly certain there was a standalone one, and it's one that's not talked about in any gaming circles and has been forgotten in the midst of time. I'm pretty sure that was a thing at some point.
all right. Fair enough.
I want my Javelin with repulsors and a uni beam.
Yeah, well,
that.
I've heard, I think it was Layman Gaming or probably that talked about that the Ranger has that classic shoot beams from your hand, Iron Man style. So there's going to be some inspiration there, obviously.
I mean, even that sort of cluster rocket that we've seen all the way back from one of the original trailers was very, very Iron Man. I thought, the sort of mortar rockets just.
Can I get in Jarvis?
Yeah.
Get my own Jarvis.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. I want a Jarvis. On that note, though, I think we can move over because this is something that I really want to talk about, and it's also something I had in the thumbnail. The actual Javelins and the different ones. We got a lot more information about the Javelins themselves, and this is something that we're probably going to touch upon in future episodes and in future videos, and once we get more information about the different ones. So far, we know a little bit more about the Ranger, or we knew things about Ranger in the past as well, like it's going to be more of a balanced class that is going to be your starter class that everyone basically can use and adapt to most situations, if I get that correctly. We have the Colossus, which I thought would be a little bit more tanky, which I guess is correct. One thing of the aspect of the different suits is that some of them have fall damage and some of them have not, or very little fall damage. Like the Colossus, for example, is made so that you can drop down from high up and do a fist slam on the ground and connect and don't take any damage. But I know that the Storm, since it's a flying suit and it's a lot smaller, is a little bit more squishy. If your engines die and you fall to the ground, you're going to take a lot more damage than you're going to do in the Colossus suit, for example.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
I like that.
So there's different gameplay mechanics depending on which Javelin you're going to go for here. So we have the Colossus. It's going to be more focused on heavy weaponry. So big rockets, big machine guns, big melee type weapons,
I can feel myself leaning
shields.
that way. I
Yeah.
can feel myself leaning towards the
Yeah.
Colossus here.
Yeah, so far the Colossus is really was catch my eye so far, but apparently it works in a fashion of weapons are specific to the javelin. So if you find a really heavy weapon, the only javelin that can use that weapon is the Colossus, and then you have smaller weapons that are adapted to the Interceptor, for example, which is a new one we saw during EA Play, and this has been talked a little bit about. We don't have much information about it, but it looks slimmer, it looks more fast, it looks, yeah, well, not really much else we can, but it's sort of a roguish class, I would guess. That's going to be my qualified guess on that one. We also have the Storm, which seems to be sort of a ranged flying class. It seems to be focused on trying to stay in the air all the time and dishing out damage from atop. And we also have, well, they haven't said anything about support abilities and stuff like that, but Mark Dara, let's see, I don't think I have the tweet open right now, but he basically said something like, they said,
I've got this. He said, "We aren't discussing the specifics of the Storm and Interceptor yet."
Yeah.
Which was in reply to somebody messaging him and Ask Me Anything in regards to any healing / support abilities from any of the Javelins.
Yeah.
And they're not discussing them yet.
No, but he was pretty cheeky there, pointing towards that the Interceptor and the Storm is going to be the support, or going to have support specs, I guess, support gadgets that you can add to them. So we know that much.
It's a nice way of saying a lot with nothing, really, wasn't it? I do appreciate it.
Yeah, he seems to have sort of mastered that skill at times.
He gets it. He understands gamers, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, personally, I'm leaning towards the Colossus. I don't know about you guys.
I think the Interceptor looked fun in the trailer.
Yeah.
Interceptor or Ranger would it be for me?
Interceptor or Colossus, I think.
I always lean Colossus, but then basically every game I play, I'm either, I think I'll go really heavy, or I'll go really up at somebody's face. And then I either end up as support or as the guy who fights at medium range, which to me probably speaks to Ranger or Storm. So we'll find out, however, when we get a little bit closer. So
yeah.
I always dream of being the heavy guy. That doesn't happen.
I would still like to see if the Colossus has proper tank abilities too.
Well, there's footage of him actually holding a shield and moving towards the enemy, so
yeah,
that's
but
the thing.
That's self-protection I don't view as a general tank.
Well, there was an interview, I'm trying to remember where I was reading it, but basically it was a bunch of journalists and a four-man team had actually sort of got up to the boss that's actually shown at the end of the trailer. And although they also didn't get to finish it, there was a sort of more coming soon type of job. He does make mention of the fact that the Colossus drops down and gets the boss's attention, so it sounds like there might be some aggro drawing skills that the Colossus might have. Don't know, but it sort of was implied that there could be.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting.
Yeah. They're probably subtle mechanics from what I've gotten from the information so far. I don't think like they haven't stated specifically, but I don't think like the Holy Trinity with the tank, healer, and DPS is going to be a thing. It's going to be a little bit more mixed in other ways, but I think probably they're gonna have ways for you to like if you're playing the Interceptor and go in and make some damage, maybe you have a stealth thing so you can pop out and don't take any damage. The Storm is obviously going to be kind of far ranged out. The Ranger is going to probably be somewhere in the middle, and the Colossus might be a little bit closer, probably going to be the one drawing the focus of the boss more of the time, I would guess.
Sarge, I'm going to throw you out of order, but is this not an excellent segue to talk a bit about the bit I'm really excited about of the way you can mix elements and stuff, which has been seen in other Bioware games, because that excites me.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Sure.
I don't know if you've got stuff you want to talk about there, or I'll just launch into my, sort of over it.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Well, yeah. Apparently, they've made mention that, and again, I think I'm also pulling this from the Game Informer article. That quite similar to what we've seen to perhaps some lesser degrees, particularly in Dragon Age, is the one that springs to my mind. where there were certain elemental combos that you could actually kick up for extra damage, or you could freeze things and do a melee attack to shatter them and that sort of stuff. Which is really a Dragon Age 1 thing, and it must have been 1 because I haven't really played 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I put my hand up and say that. But no, one of the things that they're really keen on doing is, for instance, they made reference to the fact that the storm could electrify a pool of water that something's standing in and give the ranger a free hit against it.
Yeah.
So they don't want they don't want the combos to be sort of exclusively class-based. And they mentioned there are some combos that certain suits will be able to pull off by themselves. But especially also with the gameplay interview that I was reading about, it really made it sound like that the classes have actually got to function together, because one class was staggering the boss and opening up the weak points, another class was then capitalizing on that. But they couldn't all do it themselves at the same time. They needed that cooperation to display the weaknesses, get the damage combos, and then really deliver the hammer blow. Which that's the type of teamwork I would absolutely 100% be looking for from a game like this. Really, that sounds very, very cool to me. It's not just guns and flying. It's also, how can you each apply what you're doing to the battlefield, and how can you cooperate within that combat within that combat model. So that's really neat.
Yeah,
by the sound of it.
I don't think we're going to deep dive into, because so far they have stated that you can play the whole game solo, but there's one thing that you can play solo, and that's strongholds, which I guess basically are sort of the raids in this game. But yeah, I guess those mechanics will be a lot more important. Like, you need to have a good, diverse team in order to be able to counter the different phases and all that, probably. But yeah, strongholds are not something that I want to deep dive in today, but we can mention that at least, that is going to be a thing.
Cool.
Yeah. Other than that, when it comes to the javelins, we have. I think I saw a tweet about there being melee options for the Colossus, at least, and that excites me, because I think being good at these kinds of games, at like going in melee style, could be really rewarding if you get good at that, and there's usually a good reward for that high risk gameplay of getting it in close and personal with the different enemies. So I like that they're playing around with that. I was hoping that maybe one javelin was entirely melee focused, but that does not seem to be the thing from what we've seen so far.
Yes, you mentioned that last time, didn't you? That they've said that that there isn't going to be a melee. You can't have a totally melee setup and be successful, or something along those lines. I seem to remember that was what was said.
Yeah, like they don't have a melee specialized javelin, so you can probably have melee weapons on your javelins, which you can use, maybe some sort of cool swords and whatnot. And that would be awesome.
In the future, I'd love to see a suit that's sort of equipped with melee pylons. So they could just sort of pile drive.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Or like like some sort of a mechanical hammer on the Colossus going down. That would on the
even
enemies.
A power glove, pick an enemy up and hurl it at another enemy. Because who doesn't love doing that now and again? Right?
Yeah. And some satisfying knockback mechanics, and I'm all aboard.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that. On a side note, one of the most fun mechanics that I don't think were entirely intentional with Hitman 2 was using the Hitman ballers, the Hitman standard weapons, the dual guns there. When you shot people like the ragdoll bodies with those guns, they just flew out of there.
Oh yeah.
That was so fun. So
that's going to be confusing. Not to derail, but the fact that the new Hitman is Hitman 2. Hang on.
I saw the trailer and I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, what? Have we already been here?
Yeah. This sort of rebooting, but I guess that's what Doom is doing as well. But
Doom is called Doom Eternal, so they're not actually there for going the sequel thing. They're just going for a pure name, which makes perfect sense. Yeah.
It's a lot better. All right.
Anyway.
So that's touching upon javelins. We're going to talk a lot more about those in the future when we get more information about those. One thing that I certainly want to talk about is a personal disappointment for me, but I think this is something that I can overcome. But it was the only saving grace for me in Destiny 2, and that was actually player versus player combat. That's always been something that has been really compelling to me personally. So.
They have said it might make an appearance later.
Yeah, but I would be. It would be weird if they would do something like that, in my opinion, because like one of the statements were, yeah, we're not gonna have PvP at launch, but then again, not having PvP allows us to balance the weapons entirely different and makes us able to put weapons in the game that wouldn't be able to be there otherwise. So yeah, they might do a limited mode where, all right, this is the PvP and you're only allowed to use these skills and these weapons. I guess that would make sense, sort of restricting the arsenal that you can take into a match.
Perhaps even have a slightly separate progression for PvP if and when they actually introduce it. You never know; it could happen.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about me, but with competing with other people, but that's just something that
You're supposed to be competing with your shiny new gun that nobody else has got yet, Saj. That's the entire point.
Even in PvE games, I can find ways to compete with the people, like when it comes to statistics and progression and all of that stuff. So, well, I'm gonna probably find my thing in this game either way.
I don't need PvP. I'm fine that we don't have it at launch, especially on the balancing part.
Yeah.
You're so passive. I mean,
But
I'm not competitive in the slightest.
but I am excited though about the fact that they've said that it's going to be an easier feat to balance the different weapons in order for it to be more fitting towards PvE and having a cooler experience in PvE. So I think it's actually good that they're just going one direction, at least at the start. I think
focus all their efforts into making that as good as they can, and then look at other things later. Like you say, that's positive to me, because so many games lately, it's like, oh, we've got PvE and PvP, and then it just feels like, well, you haven't quite invested enough time in either of these, have you? So,
yeah. Yeah, and obviously in Destiny 2, for example, but I guess that was a lack in the story department there. But when it came to PvP, I think that was pretty fleshed out when it worked as it should.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Keyword.
I played a lot of PvP in Destiny 2 before the first DLC. Then I met that paywall, and I didn't want to pay it. So
I tell you what, though, Destiny 2's PvP was still not Halo. It still didn't grip me the way that Halo did back in the day.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just me being all retro. No, it was so amazing, because I actually I never played as much. I was never as hooked by Halo as other people, and I still remember that Halo experience being rock solid.
Yeah, well, it was.
But Destiny just didn't quite hit those same notes for me.
Yeah, but that old gameplay was a little bit more straightforward and a little bit more simplistic. I do like the nuances with the classes and the different abilities and all of that. I think that is an interesting addition to any sort of PvP environment. So, but yeah. I mean, as long as they make you, like Mark Darrow had an argument, are there going to be weapons at launch that are going to make you feel overpowered? I think the question was, and he stated, we're never going to aim to make a weapon overpowered, but we aim to make them feel overpowered. And I think that's a really good answer, and that's a really good goal to work towards, like having a big machine guns and big rocket launchers and big, I guess, laser rifles and whatever that feel really overpowered. That will heighten the experience of the PvP, certainly, or the PvE.
It's amazing how many devs these days miss that core concept, that it's not just about the stats, it's not just about how fast you drop somebody, it's about the sound, the weight, and the punch behind that weapon.
Like the animations and the how the response is with like punching or shooting a gun. Like there's got to be some. You got to sort of feel it, even though you don't have the the feedback in your mouse. You got to feel like there's going to be there, like if it's a psychological thing or whatever. It's got to be that feedback. It's important. Certainly.
Can I just address a little point though? You know, while you're here on this topic about the weapons and not overpowered, one little thing that it's not raised a red flag. That's the wrong term. One thing that's just concerned me mildly is Bungie have stated that currently there are going to be no specialized loot drops within instances and strongholds and that sort of stuff, but strongholds will give you a higher chance of rare gear. And I sort of appreciate where they're going with that, because they want everybody to have the experience and to forge their own path. I think they said,
Yeah.
everybody has their own path
Yeah,
to forge. It does concern me a little bit because there are certain things like there are, I don't know, there are so many moments that pop up in gaming history for me. Like World of Warcraft introducing sort of pickup grades like Defiance and just having side grades. And it feels like there's always going to be a bone of contention between gamers that spend a lot of time really want a challenge, and then they
Yeah.
want something to show for that challenge, versus gamers that sort of don't have much time, but they still want to earn something. And
Yeah.
it's like catering to both crowds is so hard. That's such a tricky job to do. But I just hope they balance it well. That's all I can really say on it. It remains to be seen, but I just hope they do a decent job on that front at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, the competitive side of me again likes
Yes.
the concept of prestigeful loot, so that some loot is tied to higher difficulty instances and higher difficulty weapons. So
I would be
that
the same. I would be the same with that.
yeah, so that basically when you go around in the world and someone sees that, oh, he has that weapon, or he has that gadget, or he has that suit, or that skin, or that recolor, or whatever, they know if they're sort of experienced in the game, like you've gone through hell to get that, and you've come out on the other side with it. And I think that's a really strong aspect in games, to be able to show that off, and being feel inspired by other players in the game and all that. I think there's a strong, like, I've never experienced that on the same scale as in the vanilla World of Warcraft, where you could have the high warlord PvP sets. Like there was like one guy on each server that had that set, I think, because that was something that you needed to be number one in PvP in order to be able to purchase that set. So that was just something that once you saw those guys, like, it was awe inspiring. You were like, oh, I want to try to be able to do that myself, but then you realize I don't have the time or patience or the skill to be able to do it. But I think that there's like not to that extreme, but there's still that aspect. I think, can you capture that in some senses? I think it's it's gonna push you forward to try to get more and more loot, and
as long as it's not something menial like having to sort of pick up a 1 million Duragong fruit or something stupid.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Like that. No.
Or just boring as grinding.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hours and hours, not difficulty, just time sync.
Yeah.
That would be boring too.
Yeah. Well, it totally depends on. I think some grinds can be satisfying, but I'm a little bit weird on that. I usually go for the most grindiest aspects, where I can find something that is pretty cool that no one else has the time or patience for, and I go all out on that. So I'm a bit of an odd one on that, but yeah.
The only game I grind in is Monster Hunter.
Yeah, but I mean, there you have on the grind that is satisfying for you. So I feel like I like the grind as long as it is satisfying. If it's
I have to play an active role rather than just pushing buttons in a set order all the time, which is what a lot of MMOs devolved for me into. So yeah.
But yeah, you also got to balance the frustration in the grind as well. Like if the grind has elements where you can fail in multiple places and you have to restart all over again, that is going to put off a lot of people, I think. So you really got to balance that. It's not going to be too easy. It's got to be satisfying in mechanics. It can't be too hard. Yeah, it's a lot of different aspects, I think, there.
If they had an AI that's varied in boss fights, that would help against grind, and otherwise you would just do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, certainly. All right. I think we can move over to the internet's favorite topic of discussion, which is
Oh God.
Which
Has it something to do with social justice warrior? Then
Oh,
I'm
no.
That's
No.
the internet's favorite topic.
I think that's the internet's second favorite topic. No,
Are
but
you sure?
yeah, but I don't know. It might be up there at the top of this one. But I'm thinking about loot boxes and microtransactions and those kinds of monetary systems in games. That's something that usually catches a lot of attention, and a lot of people talk about it. So we're going to talk about it as well. And first and foremost, I can just say that there's going to be no loot boxes in the game. And of course there's not going to be, because as I said in the video, like that's a selling point that almost everyone uses nowadays. No loot boxes. Look at us. We have no loot boxes. Buy our game.
We're new, preppy, and edgy. We have no loot boxes. Aren't we
Yeah.
amazing? Yeah.
But
Oh wait, did you see the subtle hint of Cyberpunk 2077 that made fun of such things?
yeah, I didn't check that specific hint, but I heard it was in there.
Yeah.
There was like a line where it just said paying I think for cosmetics and or paying for power is just like bogus. They just made a line where they really made fun of that whole concept.
Paying for cosmetics and minor DLC in a single player experience makes no sense. I think was the
Are you
term or something
crazy?
like that. Yeah. Are you crazy? Yeah, that was part of it.
Well, that is that's just great marketing right there. But that's a fun spin of it. Usually the other developers just use the sentence "no loot boxes." But then again, for me personally, I think certain microtransactions can be almost as egregious as loot boxes. So certainly, you probably won't have that element of chance, but there's ways you can use microtransactions in ways that are.
You don't mean
when it stops progress.
You don't mean tiny little microtransactions like paying $27,000 for all of the ships in Star Citizen, do you?
That isn't even out yet.
No, but that, like me who has followed that game for years, I'm not surprised by that, but because there's always been ships that have been ridiculously expensive in that game. Like it's not even funny how expensive they are. But that's also their way of actually monetizing the project. Like it's totally crowdfunded. So if someone like an oil sheik somewhere in the world wants to go in and buy a virtual spaceship, be my guest. But I don't think like the everyday man is going to go for that. They're probably just going to go with the base package and get the base ship, or like I did. I bought one of the cheapest sports ships, like the sports car ships. So
I don't know how I feel about having done that anymore. I'm not entirely
no,
sure.
No. But I mean, I know it's sitting there waiting for me when I can actually like the times that I have jumped into the game and learned all the mechanics and learned all the systems. There's no real. I have never had that same satisfying feeling in a video game or a simulation game as actually mastering the systems and flying around, just because there's so many aspects to actually flying a ship in Star Citizen. So when you dig down on that, and you feel like a complete baller when you're flying around in space.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. But each time, like I play it like pretty intensely for a while, and then I drop it because there's nothing else to do, and then I come back a couple of months later. But how do I can't even start a ship. What am I doing? So I need to replay the tutorial missions, like the test pilot stuff, each time, because it's just so advanced, so I forget it every time.
I think I brushed up against the 2.0 beta when the performance was absolutely dire, and I've not really gone into it since. So I don't think I've even started up a ship yet, Satch. I'm going to be perfectly honest.
No. but that's the thing. I wrote in our internal chat, when it comes to those really grand, those crazily expensive ships, the dev time and resources they put into one of those ships is equal on many levels. I've seen these comparisons in different articles. Like a mid-sized indie game, the dev time and resources are like they could have completed a couple of games with each those ships, because the interior of those ships is massive, and the detailing is insane, and they have different mechanics video game mechanics, and also real world inspired mechanics, and systems and robotics and whatever in these spaceships. So it's it's an really unique and inspiring project, and it's gonna before it's done, it's gonna generate some more stuff, I guess. Some more hate and some more controversies and all of that. It's certainly been down that path a couple of times.
Guns of Citizen podcast right here.
Yeah. But back to microtransactions, just to get back on topic.
Yeah.
We have had stated, though, that no skins and no cosmetics will be locked behind a paywall only. So there will always be an option for you to grind currency in game in order to unlock certain cosmetics. The thing is that I'm surprised by this statement, because I thought this might be a thing, but they also have certain skins and customization options that are locked to the pre-order. But then again, Mark Dara actually, I think, made a tweet where he clarified, like, except
He promised.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Except for the pre-order stuff, there's
Right.
not going to be any locked skins. So.
I have the sneaking suspicion they might regret having made that statement about promising specifically at some point that all the cosmetics will be earnable in game. I'm not sure.
No,
Yeah.
like I think it's the pink skin in Overwatch. It's only, how do you get that? Is it only purchasable because all the money goes to?
Yeah, it's only purchasable.
Yeah, because all the money go to
pay for charity.
Yeah. It goes to
Actually, to be honest, if the whole charity thing, I can kind of appreciate that. That's actually, that's a slightly different thing, perhaps. I'm sure somebody could argue the point either way, but
yeah. No, but I was just thinking, like, with that statement, they're basically making those kinds of actions in the future of actually selling skins for charity. I think I guess they can, but if they're gonna stay true to the word, they can't. That's just me being nitpicky, I guess. But all right, so that's good to know that you can get you can grind for all of the skins that you want, but you can also purchase them in the game.
They talked about having a home area in game as well. I wonder if that cosmetics thing also applies to furniture and that sort of stuff, or whether or not you could pay a bit on the side to have this nice area you customize. I don't know, but
yeah, I would like that. One of my arguments for the no romance thing is that you are going to have sort of your own apartment in Fort Tarsus in the hub area. And actually, in the end, there may be some DLC or whatnot, having a NPC that you can marry or just make a commitment to, and having that person in your apartment going back, and then maybe that person gives you some extra benefits or some added help and makes things easier for you. I think that could be a cool.
Yeah,
you're anything
right.
I can do for you, love?
Yeah.
You could, instead of having a combat partner and romance, you could have just a regular wife who you met on Tarsus and who isn't interested in freelance stuff.
Now, let's be inclusive. Could also be a husband or just a partner. Just saying.
Yeah. Well,
seriously.
But yeah, I agree, like that could possibly be a thing. Like in Skyrim, depending on which wife or husband you got in that case, I think they came with added benefits, I guess you could say. Not those kind of added benefits, but not those added benefits. But I think they had this certain, like, one could give you added skill in this, and one could make you learn that, and whatever and whatnot. And I think that's a nice extra layer for you to be able to benefit to actually have romance in game. But I guess you could use that system in a totally another way. Like, you could probably, if there's a area in Fort Tarsus where you could have your own NPCs set up, like, okay, this NPC helps me repair stuff or build stuff, and if I choose this one over this one, there's going to give me these kind of benefits over this one. Like, there's some multiple ways you could go with that. I guess you don't only have to go with the romance option. But yes, it's just me speculating a little bit.
Actually, I mean, on that subject, Path of Exile has a wonderful thing where you can basically get a hideout, one of 7 different hideouts. I think it's 7, and you can sort of decorate it as you want to, and then you can invite, as you say, these NPCs to your hideout, arrange them as you will, and they give you special crafting benches and all sorts of stuff and daily missions while you're there.
Yeah.
So that's something a path they could potentially go down. You never know.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of, you have that in Terraria as well. Like there's
Oh yeah,
NPCs
true.
popping up after you've done certain stuff in the game. And yeah, that's just another way for you to feel the progression in the game. So I think that could be a nice option.
Feel the progression.
Yeah. The feeling of progression is all we're looking for in life. Apparently, crossplay has been denied, or it's not going to be a
Damn.
thing. Like I saw one tweet that they're looking into the possibility of it. But the tweet that I'm looking at right now says, "Will there be crossplay?" and not currently, so they're not ruling it out entirely. But it's sad. I like the option, especially in PvE games. I feel like there's no real reason for there to not be crossplay.
Well, it's because Sony's not playing ball. I mean, if actually
Yeah,
is
well-
Anthem coming to Sony, or it is PS4, Xbox, and PC, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they can just do
because I
like the Fortnite thing where you can play with PC and PS4, or you could play with PC or an Xbox, but you can't go for PS4 and Xbox. But currently, apparently,
Speaking-
Fortnite is also
Yeah.
you can't go PS4 to
For-
Switch.
Yes.
No, it's not that. I mean, you can't, but it goes deeper than that. We're currently on Fortnite. Sony have basically said if you have an account with us on the PS4 and you want to use that
Yeah,
account
that's
on
right.
Switch,
You can't even use the
no,
same account. Yeah,
locked.
That's a
that's
big
weird.
move.
Yeah, that's
It
really
is, yeah.
weird. Like, why can't you just like the progression itself should at least be crossplay, like the game.
Well, I mean, they want to hold on to the audience on their console, don't they? I mean, it is their PUBG. I mean, it was released on PS4 when PUBG was only released on Xbox, and it's continuing to only be released. So they are grappling that for all they're worth right now.
Yeah, well, I think that's sort of a superficial argument in the case of having that open will open up for possibilities to have added players to your player base, because then people will, I can play it on the Switch. I'm gonna buy a Switch in order to play with my friends on the PS4 because I don't want to sit and play with my on my TV, whatever. But now they know that they can't do that.
Yeah.
They can't even use their old account. Then they're not going to buy the game, or they're not going to make a commitment to the Switch. So there's also that aspect to it. So, yeah, which one of them is more profitable than the other, or which one is more you should focus on more than the other is, I guess, debatable. But I guess someone has numbers on that. Yeah, so when it comes to the Javelins, we can talk a little bit more about those. There is going to be what they call personalization, which has been sort of a word that has been confusing people because they've been using customization and they have been using personalization. But I guess the personalization wording points more towards you being able to choose different colors of your javelins. Like there's going to be a lot of different color schemes that you can choose for your different javelins to make them look quite unique. So that is going to be a thing. Apparently, a lot of them. And if you want to play with that, it's probably fine. I'm probably going to just choose a color theme, and I'm going to stick to that with all my javelins. Just
Same.
Maybe some Guns of Anthem inspired color theme. That would be great.
Represent.
Yeah, some gray and gold. I think that could look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring out our javelins.
Yeah. But I guess the customization is more towards the weapons. Like you could switch out the different weapons on your back and on your arms, and the different gadgets you have with the actual weapons that your javelin is holding is going to be a thing as well. So I guess that's more of the customization there as well. There's going to be apparently pilot progression as well.
They've said that you could basically, there are going to be variants, I think, with the suits, and you can swap out 2 modules and 2 weapons on the suits. And as you say, pilot progression. which is a more generalized tree, which is interesting.
And they've said that also that they're gonna focus more on the Javelin customization and personalization than the pilot customization and personalization, which sounds very Bioware. I just hope they are not throwing in a shitty, like, here's 5 faces that look like you have slapped a piece of rotted leather on the face there, and then and then you have like a nose that you can attach there and a hair that looks
It could
like.
be worse. It could be Skyrim.
It could be Andromeda.
Yeah,
It could be Andromeda.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
That's a much better analogy there.
yeah. My
But-
main problem there with Andromeda was that even the preset characters didn't look that interesting as well. Bugging me.
But so thinking about pilot customization, though, Sarge, I mean, we know that Tarsus is going to be first person, and the majority of the world's going to be third person. Would you ever see your pilot anyway?
Yeah.
Ever?
I
That's
guess
a good
like in
question.
some sort of menu or whatever, but not really in game. I guess.
I mean, you're not showing off your lovely, handsome face to all the other pilots, are you? You're showing off your weapons and your bling. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I hope they have some places where you can see your character if you have a huge customization option.
Yeah.
Hmm.
CD
Yeah,
Projekt
yeah.
also got a little bit of backlash because of that. They also said their characters have customization and then it should be first person. Well, now
Yeah.
you don't need customization anymore.
No, it always feels like first-person experiences with customization does feel a little bit weird. Like as it said in Sea of Thieves, all the
Or
customization.
Overwatch skins.
Yeah. Well, Overwatch for some reason makes a little bit more sense because you move so fast out of in and out of matches, and you also see more of your gun and whatever on your screen in first person.
Yeah, but
there.
you, except for emotes, you rarely see the rest.
Yeah, that's true. But there's
And you get to
so
see your body when you die.
yeah, yeah, that's true as well. But they're so quick, so like the progression or the succession of matches or whatever you want to call it. It goes so quickly, so you see that model a lot more than you do in games for like say Sea of Thieves. Like that was one thing that I felt was weird. The aspect of you always running around in first person in Sea of Thieves and having it so heavily based on customizing your actual character. Because you're not going to see it. That's just going to be for everyone else. So yeah, that was. That's also a thing with Sea of Thieves that was a little bit weird and maybe not entirely thought through. Have you guys seen the what's it called? The big is it
Megalodon?
The Megalodon, yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, I
the
have.
giant shark.
That
with
looks really badass though. They really made good use of the Sea of Thieves mechanics in that. Like when it's attacking your ship and your ship just flies away because of the impact. I think that looks really cool.
I don't know. I mean, I am keen to have another sail around the Sea of Thieves, but you know, the fact that they've announced this big expansion and there are rumors that it's not actually going to be more stuff. It's going to be a giant new area with the same amount of stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah,
They're gonna
well,
have to
I
really
think
convince me.
Yeah, I think the game is still far off from being something I want to jump back into. But I feel like the Megalodon is a good
Step in the right direction.
Yeah, a good step in the right direction. They need to have those cool, epic moments in that game, which certainly are lacking. But yeah. So one good thing is also something that Destiny 2 had was they went heavily on peer-to-peer systems. And if you don't know how that works, it's basically that the internetworks is based upon the different clients that are connecting to each other peer-to-peer, basically. So connections or the stability of connections are very much based upon the stability of the different participants' connections.
Hate it so much. So
Yeah.
much.
So that is not
Good that I didn't play Destiny 2.
Well, you're probably gonna have you're gonna be connected to everyone else since you probably will be the one with the poorest connection, I would guess.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Internet shaming, Sarge. God.
But Anthem will not have that problem because there will be dedicated servers only
Good.
in all forms and fashion.
That's excellent. I'd missed that fact. That's a really good detail.
So that means that there will be servers specialized for actually handling connections to each other and for you to be able to experience the game, which will minimize lag. It will minimize the response time between the actions that you do in the game, most likely and in most cases. If you're not really lucky with the person you're connecting to in a peer-to-peer system, I guess you could get a superior system, but that is something good that is going to be less frequent than with a dedicated system. So it's nice that they put in the effort to get in dedicated servers, certainly.
Yeah.
Like the benefit with peer-to-peer is that the game could potentially live for longer because you don't need to have all those servers up and running. But hopefully Anthem will not have that issue. That's a text message. Let's see here. Do we have and every single Javelin has a dedicated melee attack, and they're specific to the different Javelins. So probably gonna feel a little bit different in terms of how impactful the different melee attacks feel, and how they actually one of them are probably going to be slower than the other one, and one's going to be faster.
I mean, yeah, you said the Colossus did a ground pound. It's not really a ground pound. It's basically more of a superhero landing with a shockwave.
Yeah.
And let's face
Well,
it, that's just awesome.
Yeah. Certainly. So, well, that is going to be a thing. When it comes to loot, they haven't asked that much questions about it. But we know that upgrades in the world are going to be mostly based on drops. There are going to be some vendors in the game that you can buy stuff from. But in the fashion of older MMOs and whatever, I think the things that you can buy from vendors are not going to be as powerful as the drops. Might be. Yeah, I wonder if they're going to have. I haven't actually seen this question. If they're going to have a reputation system or a reputation.
A rep grind.
Yeah, a rep grind. So that that's something that I have kind of like if you rep grind with a certain faction or in a certain system, then you can unlock weapons that you can buy that can be really, really powerful. And that
they've said that you will be able to get missions from NPCs to conduct in the actual free roam, in the actual open world mode.
Yeah.
And they have said that each of those NPCs will focus on a different aspect of the open world as well. So whether or not it's combating the Scar or, finding some of the ancient precursor technology and all that sort of stuff. So you could be right. That might be a rep grind system with those mission-based NPCs. That could be a thing, actually.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it.
I would like to see that. Because I've always liked that system. It's just a system that is more... It promises you a reward in the end that the random drops might not. So I like the options to have that. That means that your grind is always going to be fruitful in the end, which random grinds are not most of the time.
Have they said anything about trading?
It's not going to be a thing.
Seen.
There's not.
Sorry, what was that, Satch?
There's not going to be trading.
Not going to be trading. Fair enough.
At least not at launch. So, I think one of the arguments is that it's it's hard to balance trading nowadays with all of the online. Like people are going to buy stuff from other people online when they can trade, and they don't want that in the game. I think that was one of the arguments that I saw. They don't want to fuel a online black market basically. So
also the items themselves, I think, lose kind of their value if you can just buy them.
Yeah, we do know
the game's set up, but yeah,
we do know though that there's going to be crafting in the game.
Yes.
I mean, I've never been that big into crafting, but if the crafting system's good, I guess it could be nice. Like in
I've never seen a game do crafting like Monster Hunter, though, Sarge. If you've not played Monster Hunter, you don't know crafting, and I'm going to stand by that. So,
Well, I don't know Monster Hunter. I gotta give you that. So
there you go. See?
End of the year, you're gonna learn.
You're
gonna learn good.
Yeah.
We'll force you to know.
Have we got a PC release date for Monster Hunter on PC?
You know, I don't know if that was announced. I'm going to look that up right now.
Yeah, that would be nice because
I hate most of the crafting systems in games.
yeah.
I know most of them are meaningless or boring grind or
Yeah.
just necessary and hinder your fun.
Yeah.
They have said in regards to Monster Hunter World on PC, there is PC gameplay footage out there. However, Capcom stated they're still targeting autumn this year, but they haven't given us a definitive date yet.
God damn
So,
it.
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah. I was thinking about Dragon Age Inquisition, for example. That was one game where I felt the crafting was. It was just tedious.
Yeah.
It didn't really give you anything that good, and it was so separate from the entirely other experience of the game. Like it was just sort of tacked on.
Breath of the Wilds. I also didn't like the crafting system. Was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And the food system was broken again, just like in Skyrim.
But then again, I mean, you know, it's just whatever game is focusing on. Because you're right. I mean, if the crafting is somehow in Anthem tied to the progression directly, it could be good. Because Monster Hunter, that is the entire point of the crafting system. The crafting system is your progression.
Yeah.
You know, no questions asked until you get to endgame, and then other systems come into it as well, but it's still crafting. So, yeah, I'm really interested and keen to see where they go with that particular aspect.
Yeah, certainly. Like the only game that I feel like crafting has been a thing that has been meaningful is probably World of Warcraft. Again, I like to use World of Warcraft as an example, but that's only because of the auction house system, basically, that you can use the crafting system in order to grind a lot of gold in the game. So I think you need some sort of action house system to make the grind of a crafting system feel rewarding.
I mean, ultimately, though, I mean, all the crafters in World of Warcraft were actually doing, because they weren't making gear as such, they were making cosmetic items for other players, or they were creating sort of buffs for raids, and that was about it, really, at the end game of the crafting. So
Yeah. All right. We have been talking a lot, and I feel like there's just tons of things that we could deep dive into even more. But I mean, we can't do
like
everything.
The UI system.
Yeah, but we can't do everything in one podcast episode. That would be weird. Then we would have nothing else to talk about and whatever.
So, I have a question, though. I have
right.
a question I need to ask you guys because I've not had a chance yet, and this is the perfect opportunity to do so. In your takeaway from E3 this year, did you have any standout moments?
On E3 as an entire experience?
Yeah, were there any other games that are not necessarily EA related, because we are all gamers here, that really stood out to you and sort of hit you in the face and said, "Play me"?
Let's see here. I feel like there was one at least. Like I'm really
you so hard you could just remember it's right at the tip of your tongue.
No, I don't think I have that. The only thing that really intrigues me is Fallout 76 to see the experience. But I can't see myself enjoying that experience outside of a couple of days or weeks. I don't think that's going to be one that I'm sticking with for a little bit.
Did Rage 2 not speak to you? Because that was certainly...
Yeah, I really enjoyed Rage 1. I didn't finish it, but I really, really enjoyed Rage 1. I think that was a really well-made game. So yeah, I'm intrigued by Rage 2, but I'm not that hyped. I'm probably gonna play the game and really enjoy it, but I'm not gonna. There's no reason for me to hype it, basically.
Yeah, I'll tell you one game that's completely off the wall, because there were so many games that spoke to me this year, and I'm going to ask you in a minute, Patrick, but one game that just spoke to me and I was like, oh my god, I need that in my life now, was a game that was sort of announced in the ill-fated PC gaming section, called Satisfactory. I'm
Alright.
sure you could see the pun in that one, but it's effectively 3D Factorio, and I need this game now.
Oh, all right.
I need to lose hundreds of hours in a 3D Factorio, please. So, did you have any standouts, Patrick, in E3?
Well, I'm not an E3 guy, so I haven't watched any other press conference except for the EA one we watched together. I'm
Yeah.
normally not a huge fan of all the hype and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
I watch usually trailer or compilations where they show off the games that were shown. I watched, for example, Donkey's E3 2018 video.
I still
and,
haven't had the pleasure. We'll be watching that later.
Yeah, I need to watch that later as well.
Obviously, Smash Ultimate is one thing I'm most interested in, but there was also, was it on the tip of my tongue, Cuphead, the second one
Oh,
they
yeah.
teased, or
Sounds
maybe even
interesting.
shown, I don't know. And yeah, there were a few interesting ones, but as I said, I'm not an E3 guy, so I'm
I feel like the game currently that intrigues me the most, or the two games, I believe, I'm still really interested to see what they can make of the Final Fantasy VII remake. That's gonna be interesting.
when it comes out.
Yeah, I've heard that there's a lot of internal stuff going on over at Square Enix when it comes to that
They
game.
wanted to throw last year. That was the original plan.
Yeah.
Sometime in 2025, maybe.
Yeah. And also, Death Stranding is something that intrigues me a lot. I'm still like me.
How could you not be intrigued by Insanity? I mean,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, but they showed so little.
They did, but that seems to be their thing. Ubisoft didn't really have anything that, like, the Division 2, yeah, it's probably going to be fun, but it's not something that I'm going to hype. I don't think anyone can get on the hype train of the Division.
Just because, yeah, I know what you mean. But just because I'm such a Greek mythology fanboy, the new Assassin's Creed actually excites me.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out, it will now forever be known by me as Ass Odyssey. It's Greek. I mean, how could it not be?
Ass Odyssey. Oh, one though, Battletoads.
Oh my God,
I didn't see that
yes.
coming.
Yeah, I know. Not one little bit. That's amazing.
And we're gonna have it on PC as well, so that's. I mean, I loved Battletoads back in the days, but that game was so hard.
That was balls.
God, that was hard, but it was really fun.
I'm still confused by what they showed about Death Stranding. So why would you show so much walking? Why?
Because Kojima.
That just looked like a walking simulator for the time being.
I don't think the game is going to be a walking simulator, but that can very easily be summed up by the following statement: in the geek world, it's a case of, why did this happen? A wizard did it. In a sci-fi world, why did this happen? Because some alien god did it. When it comes to Death Stranding, because Kojima did it. That's why.
Yeah. Well, next time I think we needed to touch upon the Anthem world and its theme. When you thought we're talking about gods, that's something that came
Oh,
out.
that's true. That's a good segue. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess we can stick a little bit on E3, and if you guys want to pop out some recommendations, like in the last couple of minutes, we can just mention those. But one thing that I saw that really intrigued me was actually Devil May Cry 5.
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me that exists. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry 5. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I didn't play the first 4 for some reason. The art style and the way the direction didn't speak to me.
Disappointed.
No, yeah, but but DMC, the remake, which has been a controversial one, was actually one that I picked up, and oh my god, I love the hack and slash gameplay in that one.
Gameplay was excellent, but the character was
Well,
crap.
Yeah,
The
character was like a moody teenager, bad boy guy. And yeah, well, he wasn't that intriguing, but it seems like from the footage from Devil May Cry 5, it seems like they've gone sort of in a middle path, and when it comes to like because Dante this time around actually has cut his hair and looks a little bit more like the guy from the DMC. Yeah. So I think they may have gone that approach to speak to both audiences, which I think is an excellent.
Just
move.
let me ask though, did you actually watch that Devil May Cry trailer and actually think, wow, this is trying to be Bayonetta? I mean, there
Well,
was a little bit of that.
yeah, I haven't played Bayonetta because I really need to, but I've actually
Ah.
not played it too much. I've just watched some footage.
Oh, it's so good. It's so worth playing if you can get your hands on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, Patrick, it's an official sequel. Devil May Cry 5 is the sequel to Devil May Cry 4. They are continuing the main series, so it's great.
4 I haven't finished yet. I played the beginning. 3 I was all over.
Oh,
3
yeah,
was a
yeah.
great game.
Yeah. One that I'm really excited about as well is Farming Simulator 19.
Oh,
Who
nice.
wouldn't be? You know, got to harvest my corn, mate. You know, it's got to be done.
I'm surprised
No one else gonna do it.
I'm surprised those simulators actually have the following that they do, but yeah, why not?
Most of them are just doing it for fun, not because they really want to play it.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people find it to be a relaxing experience, so I can get that. I can get that. Let's see. I'm just gonna scroll through and see if I hit. Oh yeah, Insurgency Sandstorm. I saw that Level Cap made a video on Insurgency Sandstorm.
Oh yeah.
And if you guys didn't play the first Insurgency game, it was a mod, or it was a game out of the Source engine, which was hyper realistic, I guess you could say, in terms of warfare simulators go. And it was, once you got good at it, it was really fun.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
And this is the second iteration in the Insurgency franchise. So,
did you see the Battle Royale game from Explosum called Rapture Rejects?
No, I did not.
It looks, well, actually, the trailer looked better than the gameplay, but it looked amazing. It's an isometric Battle Royale from Cyanide and Happiness. So why would you not want that in your life, is my question.
Yeah, well, that does sound amazing, though. I love Cyanide and Happiness, so. Kingdom Hearts, that's something that you guys like?
Definitely.
Those trailers, though, what the...
I love Kingdom Hearts, but I don't have a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be.
Okay, it's coming out on the Xbox One as well, Patrick.
Yeah.
I don't like the console as the entirety.
Was that Luke or James screaming in pain just then?
I don't need a console with so little exclusive titles.
Well, they certainly had a lot of things to show on the Xbox conference, so they're really stepping up their game.
Well,
and Kingdom Hearts
developers, haven't they?
Yeah, and Kingdom Hearts 3 coming to Xbox One is a huge surprise.
But, Buet, it must be said that if you really wanted to purchase Kingdom Hearts 3, but you really wanted to play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 again, only on PS4 can you get the package, which has 1, 2, and 3 in the same package.
Of course, that's the thing. Of course.
Is that then HD Final Mix Ultra Edition or something like that?
Yeah, we're getting to Street Fighter levels in this right now. So.
more like Nintendo handheld consoles. The Nintendo 3DS Neo XL.
Yeah.
Just make the name longer, it works.
Just add words and numbers and it's alright. The Last of Us Part 2.
That looked incredible.
Loved the first game from the story, but still no PS4 or PS3.
Yeah. But I mean, the first game, the first interaction I would have, I think I watched PewDiePie's entire playthrough.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
You made a mistake.
No, I don't think I did, because I really enjoyed his playthrough of The Last of Us and his playthrough of Heavy Rain.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah. Those just worked for some reason.
Did you happen to see the demo footage they put out of Last of Us 2?
I
didn't actually. I need to check that out.
Have a look at it, because although it was staged, they were making the point, or they were definitely implying that it was the actual gameplay section was in game, and what they've managed to do, what it looks like they've managed to do with contextual animations, was absolutely jaw-dropping. It was the smoothest animation transitions I've ever seen in a video game
No,
ever.
I definitely saw that. That looked amazing. Like every action, like slight dodging or even crouching, worked perfectly as a means to evade attacks.
It
Yeah.
was stunning. It really
Well,
was stunning.
Naughty Dog has always been a really like probably one of my favorites when it comes to visuals in games.
Yeah.
Like The Last of Us when that came out, for like when did it come out? 2014? No.
No,
It
I
was
think
quite a
it's
few years
older.
ago.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that that game looked as well as it did, and then the HD remake after looked as well as it actually did was
14th of June 2013. My God, it's like the 5-year anniversary of The Last of
Yeah.
Us today.
yeah. Yeah. So, 2014, and that game still looks really well.
Mm.
So Naughty Dog know their thing. When it comes to visuals, I think they're hard to beat. Personally, I just that little artistic stuff or touch they have toward their games is something that really speaks to me.
Yep.
All right, we can probably move towards some quick games, some mentions here. Mega Man 11, awesome. If it is awesome, that's awesome.
Wasn't shown much, I think.
Yeah, a Monster Hunter game is going to come out on the Switch called Generations.
Generations.
Yeah,
Yep.
Generations Ultimate, it says here.
We've already
Nice.
had that on the 3DS, but it's just a rehash for the Switch.
All right. We have Pokemon Let's Go on the Switch.
Let's go Pikachu.
Yeah, Pikachu slash Eevee.
And let's go Eevee.
Yeah. We do have Raichu. We've already mentioned that. Rend. Isn't this something that you heard something about before? No,
What?
there's no real information about this. For some reason, I've heard the name of Rend. Roller Coaster Tycoon Switch. If you're into Roller Coaster Tycoon,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo didn't really show much, did they?
Yeah. Sea of Solid.
Except-
Yeah, sorry. We're just gonna press through here. Sea of
Yeah.
Solitude was a game that we saw during the EA Play, which looked really interesting. Something I can remember. Skull and Bones looks interesting as well.
Oh, yeah.
The pirate Ubisoft game. Another Soul Calibur.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
And Geralt's in it, which is awesome from
Yeah.
Witcher 3.
Yeah. That's
I like the series.
The Surge 2, if you like The Surge 1, we have that.
I didn't even know a game like that existed.
The Surge is sort of basically a Dark Souls clone,
Oh, okay.
But sci-fi.
but sci-fi. So it's one of the few that actually managed to amass some sort of fan base in the copying of Dark Souls.
Neat.
Yeah. I think
Final
those
one
are...
I'd like to add to that list is Neo 2 was also announced.
All right.
So that makes me very happy because Neo is excellent in my opinion.
Another Trials game if you're into Trials.
Oh yeah, yeah.
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 But yeah, so those are some honorable mentions that I just saw here from the top of my head that I think is
Did
worth.
Nintendo brought anything other than Smash?
Smash and Mario Tennis Aces,
Oh.
and that's about it really.
Wow.
Smash and Smash.
That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Do you guys have any recommendations for this week, or are we gonna save those for?
To play this week? No.
No.
I've been playing Path of Exile and Assassin's Creed Origins, and that's about it, really.
Yeah.
That's been my week.
I haven't had the
So-
time to play anything at all.
Same here.
Yeah.
Just playing Darksiders. Nothing
Oh,
new.
tell you what, here's a recommendation. A series that I've just started to watch on Netflix, which is very well reviewed, that I haven't picked up. Is called The Originals. And when I first watched it with my girlfriend, we've both thought, well, this is going to be vampire cheese, isn't it? Turns out it's actually quite good. We're about halfway through the first season, and it's actually it's surprisingly, shockingly even well written. So if you're looking for something along the sort of World of Darkness line, or vampires or werewolves or whatever, and you want just a bit of that good old cheese, that horror, then it's a series well worth picking up. Decent characters, can recommend it.
All right.
So
Yeah, I'm still hammering through Divinity 2. So
How are you finding that?
I'm really enjoying it. It's one of those games where
Yeah.
I just get stuck and I can sit up way too late, just
That's great.
redoing fights over and over until I actually like some of those fights are so incredibly hard, but I know that I can beat them. Just
You're
gonna
not being a
take me
dirty
5
save
hours.
scummer, are you, Saj? You're not like that, are you?
Yeah. So no, but I'm really enjoying the game so far.
Good.
So that's a good one. But I don't really have anything else to recommend. Basically, all I've been consuming is information about Anthem. So yeah, that's something that I certainly can recommend. Mark Darrow on Twitter can be my recommendation. He's the guy that you see on. Let's see here if I can move over that. You see him on screen right now. He's the most right guy with the whitish, grayish hair and the beard and the glasses. So that is someone that you can check out on Twitter, and he's the one that replies to most of the questions about the game that is Anthem. So if you come up with a nifty question, then hit him up, and I'll probably see it if he answers that, and we'll talk about it in the show. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be cool? Yes, it would. All right, so that's going to be it for the Go.Live Gaming Podcast this time around. If you enjoyed the show, then please leave us a message at feedback@gunsofanthem.com. As I said, the VOD will be available on YouTube tomorrow, or maybe even faster than that. The edited version will be up tomorrow at least, and you can interact with us on social media in all different places. Facebook is picking up a little bit, at least. We have some interactions going on over there, so it's growing. It's steadily but slowly. So yeah, that's fun, and we're gonna pop out more videos as fast as we can about information about the game for as talking points for the podcast, and also in order to inform you and also get a little bit more of a presence on the tubes, which is important. On the tubes.
And I certainly intend to be streaming some Battlefield 5 if I'm not 5. Well, I keep making that mistake now. As soon as 5 comes out, yes. But for now, Battlefield 1. So do come join me. Look out for that, and join me if you want to as well.
Yeah, he's been picking up the streaming life. So certainly check out for Chromatism on his own channel. We're probably gonna set up so he will be hosted when he streams to his own channel on this channel. And you're also going to see him on this channel as well, every once in a while. So
Twitch.tv/chromatism for anybody who's interested.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want to say before we go, Patrick?
Except for bye, no.
All right then.
I have no recommendations or something to add.
Yeah, all right then. Well, that's I think it's a good way to end it. So, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. See you next time.